the Dawn with your hosts, Jimmy Thompson and Donato Bucci. They're covering the most current issues in sports from the 305 to the 412 and all the way to the West Coast. You can follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at JT and the Dawn or email them at jtandthedawn@gmail.com. Now take it away, guys.
Give them a shot to do what?
Welcome to the next episode of JT and the Dawn, presented by Give Us a Shot Network. I am the Dawn, Donato Bucci, and remember to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you find all of your other favorite podcasts. And remember to leave us a 5-star review. Thank you to Nicole Thompson for the wonderful introduction, as well as our guy Mike Regina with the JT and Dawn and the Dawn intro music. You know, it's a great time of year, especially up in the Northeast. There's a little chill in the air. You've got
is this
whoa, I didn't intro you yet. You are
no, because I know what you're gonna do. You're about to waste people's time. This is your annual. I'm gonna complain about how miserable it is to live up north because the weather sucks. It's your fault that I'm not in Florida. You shouldn't complain because you don't have to deal with the cold. Is that what you were gonna say? Because I could have saved this 5 minutes.
Do you feel guilty? Because what I was going to say was
I'm just tired of you. I'm just tired of you making it my fault. Look, you did the right thing. You left. That's what you're supposed to do.
You messed up the whole intro anyway. So let me welcome in.
Thank you.
Rudely interrupted. Let me welcome in everyone's favorite. Don't know why, but JT Jimmy Thompson, beside you, always hating. How you feeling today?
Hey man, I'm all right, man. Oh, we gotta change your intro, man. Apparently Stitcher is no more, so we can't say that.
Really?
Yeah.
Stitcher. No, I didn't get that memo in the production.
I've heard the rumors. I think you got to cut that out of the intro, man. Other than that, A plus, man. I give it to you. You're the best intro man in the business. The outro you can do like nobody's business, but in between is where you got to do. You got to work on.
How is Stitcher out? Did they get bought out? I want to know about
hostile takeover. Look it up. I don't know. I just heard the rumor that there are no more.
That's what you usually do, like hostile takeovers. You know, you're in meetings all day out in West Palm.
We really need to have a conversation of what you think I do for a living, because it ranges from I don't do anything at all.
I want to know.
I don't do anything at all to corporate espionage. I think it's time we had that conversation of what I do for work, because I feel like you have no idea.
Anytime your address has the name like Winter or Springs or Beach in it, that means you live in a nice area. And I'm not going to say which one of those
there's no
words
beach
is in your city.
I'm literally looking at the woods. Can we start the show?
I didn't say it was beach. Could be winter. Could be springs. You know, you have one of those 3 words in your city.
That's why I got to cut you off. You always doing too much. Let's get to the show, please.
So let's start. Another week of the NFL season is in the books. So let's take a look back at week 9 in the NFL. First thing, JT, as we always do with our reactions, what is one player performance or storyline that you are not overreacting to?
It's not a performance per se, but it's talk about it. I'm not overreacting to it. It's the Cardinals bringing back Kyler Murray. Like, I know that they activated him last week, and I believe now they said that he's going to play this week. But I feel like once they took him off the pup and they activated him, and people start like, hey, like Kyler Murray's coming back, like the Cardinals have hope. Like, this is still not a good team. So it was between that and I will say the Bills losing. I know they lost to the Bengals again. So it's like, oh no, not this again. So I'm not overreacting to that.
Man, there's a couple things I could not overreact to. So I'll go quickly to the Chiefs offense. Everyone's worried, oh, no points in the second half. It's like, listen, Dolphins are a good team. They're a good defense. the Chiefs still rank 7th in yards, 12th in scoring. And while that isn't great in what we're used to, like, I'm not concerned about the Kansas City offense. So I'm not overreacting to no points in the second half. And I'm also not overreacting to the Las Vegas Raiders victory, JT. I mean, it was
you're not giving props to AP, man. Come on.
Listen, Antonio Pierce, I think he's actually a really good coach, good defensive coordinator.
He crazy. Like, if you heard the stories of him at Cal Poly?
I have not, but I can only imagine. But
hold on. Hold on. Before you go, I got to tell you a crazy story that I heard. They were up, I want to say, like by 30 points at halftime. And, halftime, you're by 30, you feel good. You know what they did? He felt they weren't playing good enough. So he made them run gases behind the bleachers during halftime. And they came back out and put up 30 more points. So that's how crazy he is. So, I mean, maybe it's working for the Raiders.
So they did exactly what they did in the first half, but they still had their own gassers in between. Well, I guess to each their own. But, it was against the Giants. Daniel Jones was injured. Like, they still have to face Miami, the LA Chargers, and the Chiefs twice, JT. Like, it's going to get rough for them. So, yes, enjoy it. Have your cigars in the locker room, because I don't know how many more cigars you're going to be lighting up the rest of the year. All right. So what is the one player performance or storyline that you are not panicking on?
Can I use this to insert a conspiracy theory that I want to panic on? You
always believe in this stuff, so you might as well.
Can we panic on Aaron Rodgers holding the Jets hostage? Like, this is insane.
Is that new? Like, I didn't know that was something new.
But he's holding them hostage to the point where they can't even go out and pursue like league average quarterbacks that aren't a threat to him. Like, look at all the guys
they're not allowed to trade for Josh Dobbs.
They didn't trade for Dobbs. They didn't trade for Carson Wentz, who the Rams just signed. And the funny thing is, today Robert Saleh was asked about, hey, why don't you guys just give Trevor Siemian a chance? The backup, Booby's backup's backup. You know what he said? I don't know. I'm going to plead the fifth. Like, is Aaron Rodgers' stronghold of that franchise so strong they can't even go out and get anybody that resembles a starting quarterback in the NFL to fill in for his absence? Because all accounts that I see that he's saying that he's going to come back at some point. Well, guess what? If you don't get a quarterback that can help you win games, there's no reason for you to come back this year. So, I mean, I just don't understand why they keep trotting out Zach Wilson every week, where you could go get a quarterback for cheap. Go trade for Trey Lance. Somebody.
It's too late now.
They could have, though. I'm saying,
yes.
Go get Donato Bucci. He can throw it. He can throw it 5 yards in the flat. Breece Hall would have 50 fantasy points where you have quarterbacks. Anything is better than Zach Wilson. He's just not an NFL quarterback that can start games. I'm sorry. And this is Aaron Rodgers' fault. I'm panicking on that.
So you're panicking on that. Okay.
Panicking on that.
I'm panicking on the officials with the roughing the passer calls. One, it's
we should have been panicking on that.
Well, even more so this past weekend. It's inconsistent, right? You look at the Steelers-Titans game. They call it on the Steelers when Levis still has the ball in his hand, essentially. They call it roughing the passer. The defender did not put weight on Levis. And then later in the game, when Kenny Pickett gets it clearly late with the force of weight of the defender on Kenny Pickett, no flag. And then if you watch the Commanders game, they get, I don't even know what it was, a roughing. I don't think it was late. It was a roughing the passer because he hit him in the back, put his weight on him. But like, how do you want him to sack the quarterback when he's coming from the blind side? So like, one, it's inconsistent. And then two, no one knows what the rule is. Like, why did the Commanders get a penalty there? And there needs to be some leniency that sometimes you will happen to fall on top of the quarterback when you tackle
I'm a 300-pound man going 100 miles an hour. I may fall on this human being.
And you're tackling him. Like, do you not want him to tackle and wrap up? So,
or better yet, can we just admit that roughing the passer goes as far as the talent of the quarterback? Because I see that all the time. Like, guys hit a guy a certain way, it's a flag, and then it's not. But Patrick Mahomes just out here running around free, and people are scared to even tag him.
But JT,
because of how inconsistent this rule is.
But JT, all three examples I gave: Steelers with Pickett, Levis, a rookie with the Titans, and Mac Jones with the Patriots. none of those guys are like top 20 quarterbacks.
Inconsistent. So, if it was Patrick Mahomes, they wouldn't have touched
but
it.
That's at least understandable then. They're not even consistent with like the average to below average quarter or rookie quarterbacks. Like, I'm panicking because I've texted you this, I think, every week. I think every penalty should be reviewable, or every non-penalty should be reviewable. You should get 2 challenge flags for plays. You get 2 challenge plays. You get 2 challenge flags for plays, and then 1 challenge flag for penalties. And if you keep getting every penalty right, you keep getting that challenge back. I mean, it's over a $13 billion industry. You've got to be able to monitor and control these refs. It's getting out of hand. It is getting out of hand.
Getting it right. They care about getting it exciting.
They're worried about the script. All right. So the check down game. Let's play it. We give a question and provide multiple answers to the question. Then we pick the best answer to the question. So first question, more concerning. Speaking of Kenny Pickett as QB1 or George Pickens' attitude?
As much as Pickens' attitude sucks, that's horrible. That's a bad look for you guys. It's Kenny Pickett, man. I'm sorry. He's just not it. So far through his career, 1 game over 250 yards passing, and 1 game with more than 1 touchdown. And they weren't the same game. So he's like, I just can't. Zach Wilson, for all the stuff we just talked about him just a minute ago, he's at least shown us more than Kenny Pickett has. He's also shown us a lot worse, but I mean, it could be Matt Canada, but I'm sorry. Like, Will Levis is rising above the boring-ass Mike Vrabel and showed us, like, hey, he has 300-yard, 4-touchdown upside. Like, we're never seeing that from Kenny Pickett. And it's not like he doesn't have weapons. He's got 2 amazing running backs. He's got 3 great receivers. He has a good tight end. Like, the Steelers have weapons, even with suspect play calling. I mean, you could be able to pass for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. CJ Stroud just passed for 1 million of them. Like, I'm out on Kenny Pickett. Like, I just don't see it as the QB1 for you guys for the future.
Yeah, more concerning, and I know the people back at home in Pittsburgh and
they're going to agree with you because this is facts.
Well, they're not going to like what I have to say, but it is Kenny Pickett. Listen, with George Pickens, the Steelers have a history in the past decade of receivers doing this. They're really super talented. Most of the time they do produce. And then eventually when they get to that level and they're starting to get near the end of their first contract, it becomes evident that there's an attitude, not issue, but there's an attitude adjustment there. So we're used to this. It's going to happen. But Kenny Pickett, they took him in the first round to be the franchise quarterback. And I get text messages a lot saying how he's missing this open guy. And when he does have an open guy and throws to him, it's not a good throw. He's not able to fit it into the window. Like, he's not able to throw guys open. Listen, I know the offensive line isn't great. The running game hasn't been great. But like you said, they have weapons. Like, there's no reason why with Deontay Johnson, Allen Robinson in the slot, and outside with Pickens that he shouldn't be producing better. Now, he threw a good ball.
Kenny Pickett has better weapons than Russell Wilson. Both years in Denver, and Russell Wilson has played better than Kenny.
He has better weapons than probably about 2/3 of the league at this point. But the throw to Pickens, very good. Pickens has to make that play to help his quarterback. But overall, I'm just concerned. And the reason why it's more concerning is if he's not the franchise QB, JT, man, they're in a lot of trouble. I don't know if he is QB1, unfortunately. All right, next one, more concerning. Your Dolphins or the Bills against good teams?
Oh, it's easy to take a cheap shot here, man. It's so easy. But you know what? I'm a man of integrity. I'm not going to do it because I'm going to go with the right answer. It's my Dolphins. And I said this either the last show or the show before. This is what worries me about the Dolphins. We don't win these type of games against good teams on the road in hostile environments. And here's the thing. KC didn't even have home field advantage because we played them in Germany. And we just totally shit the bed in the first half of that game. And this has always been our problem. And I think it goes back to the last, 13 games. We haven't beat a team with a 500 or more record. Like, we're good against the bad teams, but against the good teams, playoff teams, the ones that are standing in the way of you getting and winning a Super Bowl, we can't beat those guys. So I'm worried about them because this is our MO. We cannot beat good teams.
You're actually wrong. I'm not concerned about either one of them. I mean, listen, the Dolphins have lost to the Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, all three competitive games. For the most part, the Bills got away from them. And the Bills happened to beat the Dolphins. So why are we concerned that it is not even, we're not even 1 week clear into November and we're worried about, how the Bills are playing on the road against a playoff team, how the Dolphins are playing over in Germany. They did shut out the Chiefs in the second half. Like, what's with all the concern? Quit being.
Because I know my team. I know my team. Because this is what will happen to us in the playoffs. We'll have to go play a playoff team on the road. This happens to us all the time.
All the time.
Last year in Buffalo, where did we lose?
We made the playoffs twice in the past 2 decades.
All the time. Where did we lose?
You're right.
Where
all the time. You're right. All the time.
Where did we lose? I still got visions of Matt Moore getting blown up in a playoff game. It's PTSD. This is what we do. We lose to good teams on the road. Like, you got to win those games.
You've got to go through your lumps. You took it last year.
How many lumps we need? We out of space.
Hey, that's the way it is in the NFL. But I'll say this. This is why they call you Jimmy Drama. You're creating drama for no reason. Jimmy Drama. All right, next one. More concerning. Arthur Smith or Mike McCarthy?
Oh, this is an easy one, man. I'll give you.
This one's tough. Which one's more concerning?
It's easy. I'll give you a number. $50 million plus. That's a lot of money, right?
It is.
Not
to you, but to me it is. To you.
You know me. I'll
make that. You make that on 2 phone calls.
$50 million plus. That's how much money the Falcons have invested in Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. Oh, you know why? Because they drafted all those guys in the top 10 of the draft. And their coach, the great Arthur Smith, I picked this coach of the year. Stupid of me to think he would actually, do something different. He's not using those guys. Like, Bijan Robinson is being out-snapped by a backup 5th-round running back. Kyle Pitts, we talked about him enough. He don't even get on the field. As a matter of fact, he's blocking for backups to get better plays. And Drake London, they don't use him at all. Like, I want to know, what ownership or team can you go to and say, hey, look, you're paying me all this money and I'm just not going to use these guys? Like, that is concerning to me. Like, it's almost like he's going out of his way to stick it to the media for asking him why he's doing these questionable things that any normal head coach would do. Would you find a way to take the ball out of your 3 best players on offense every game at all costs? No, you would not. You know why? Because you would be fired. So I am more worried about Arthur Smith. He does not know what he's doing, and it seems like he's doing it on purpose to try to stick it to us to say, like, hey, I know more than you, and he's doubling down on being wrong. Gotta be him.
So we call it the checkdown game because
I don't give a damn what it's called. I gave you my answer.
Quick passes, quick answers. We're not throwing 50-yard deep passes.
I can, you can't. That's the problem.
All right. So it's Mike McCarthy. I've been saying it for years. The guy won only 1 Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. 1 Super Bowl. And it's not like toward the end where it was like, oh, they didn't have a defense. They didn't have they were built for multiple Super Bowls at that time. Jordy Nelson was coming into his prime. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was still in his prime. All right. And thanks, Germ. I mean, is it sick? Like, I think JT's confused that he's wearing a Ravens hat with a Dolphins jersey. That's what we call being confused. Man. But anyway, listen, I told you from the beginning, I didn't think that Dallas hiring Mike McCarthy was the right hire, even though he had kind of gone into coaching.
You said yes.
No.
I said he deserves a chance. He locked himself in an Aaron Rodgers cabin in the offseason. He watched all these Remember the Titans films, and he reinvented his coaching style. You were like, you know what?
Yes.
That guy is smart. He studied football, and he's ready for another opportunity. That's exactly what you said.
But not with the Dallas Cowboys. That's what I mean. And I think the other thing with the Falcons and Arthur Smith, JT, there's no expectations. Like, they can still get it right. They're in a weaker division. The Cowboys are showing, you talk about being concerned about your Dolphins and the Bills playing good teams. Anytime Dallas plays a good team, it's not a good result. I mean, they lost to Philly. A lot of it was coaching. It
was all coaching.
There you go. They lost to the 49ers.
I'm not saying Mike McCarthy is not ass. Like, he's ass too.
That's more concerning. What expectations do they have in Atlanta? They have no quarterback. You talk about spending $50 million plus. Well, spend it on the quarterback. They don't have the quarterback. All right. Like, No way do they have the quarterback, and you want to blame Arthur Smith? Come on, man. Get the quarterback right, then you can blame Arthur Smith. And I agree. I agree with Germ, everything he said. You're a sick man for wearing the Ravens hat with the
He
Dolphins
just
jersey.
mad I ain't got
You're
no
a
Bill stuff to
diabolical
wear.
hater.
You know
He
why I don't
always
have
says
Bill
that
stuff to wear?
you.
Because you burn the shit up every weekend before halftime. So if
He's
you
not
actually
asking you to wear Bill.
if
What
you
he's
if
asking
you
you is,
if I was wearing a
what he's saying
shirt,
is,
he'd be like, "Oh, that's amazing." I know what it is.
no. What he's saying is, rep your team. Don't wear
I
another.
am.
You don't see him
I
wearing.
am.
You don't see.
I'm still supporting this man, and I'm still supporting this team because they represent the U. I
No.
love it.
No, they don't. They don't
They
represent
do.
the U. And
Hey,
name a
hey.
guy on the U. Name a guy on that team that went to the U
The Ravens?
currently.
Bro, I'm talking about for
Who
history.
cares?
I'm supporting
Who
Lamar.
cares?
This is
Who
for
cares?
Lamar. Lamar and
Again,
past
you're
UM
not
soldiers.
a true Dolphins fan.
I am a true Dolphins fan.
You'd rather see Lamar win the stick it to Germ and myself to prove how you've been calling Lamar since the beginning. Than
Oh,
have
yeah,
the
because I called him a
Dolphins win.
quarterback and y'all said he can't play. And, here he is.
I never said he couldn't play, but
whatever.
you
Next
thought
question.
you thought he'd be, maybe around this good. But you'd rather see him beat your Dolphins just to prove you're right.
Let's just not try to ease past that.
Right.
You're like,
just to prove you're right.
You thought he might be as good as he is, but that's not the point.
Just to prove you're right, you'd rather see him beat the Dolphins and the Dolphins go to the Super Bowl.
If he's playing my Dolphins, I'm rooting for the Dolphins.
No, you're not. Next one. Relax or panic? That's the question. Relax or panic on Bryce Young?
Gotta relax. I know it looks bad, but just look at this situation. They got no O-line. They have no weapons. Their best receiver, really their best offensive player is Adam Thielen, who we thought was done. Like, that's all he got to work with. And I'm not sold on your guy, Frank Reich, who we've seen this is, what he does. So I got to see Bryce Young with more around him because, believe it or not, C.J. Stroud got a better situation. He got a better line. He's got better weapons. Same thing with Anthony Richardson. Better coach, better line, better weapons. Like, Bryce Young went number one overall and ended up in the worst situation. That's what number one overall picks do. So I'm not ready to panic on him just yet.
Going back to Germ saying 1,000%, Dawn. See, right there.
I know y'all two in cahoots. I
going
shit every day.
Going to the question on Bryce Young, panic. I told you at the draft, I didn't think he should go number one. I had been telling you C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson's kind of that next Justin Herbert guy. I don't want to say that Don told you so I won't do that yet. But
so it's cool when you tell me about Bryce Young, but you just gonna ease past me telling you about Lamar.
but looking at CJ Stroud's situation, if you had said at the beginning of the year, you would say he's in a tough offense, and so is Bryce Young. But CJ Stroud is making guys like Tank Dell, a rookie, better. How is Bryce Young making a rookie like Jonathan Mingo better? He's not.
Maybe,
and that
like
goes
I told
to the
you.
Quarterback.
Hold on. We don't want to put your GM skills on Front Street. Maybe Jonathan Mingo's just not that good. And that was always a possibility. He's not good.
We'll see in a couple years because
DK
Metcalf, AJ. We won't because
he's going to be stuck with Bryce Young.
He's going to be stuck with Bryce Young. What about who else do they have there? They still have
Nico Collins, who's a monster.
No, they still have Chenault in Carolina. Like, none of these guys are.
These guys aren't good, and you know that. Chenault hasn't been good since he came into the league.
So Tank Dell all of a sudden is
better than any receiver they got, not named Adam Thielen.
Is it because CJ Stroud? I believe part of it is CJ Stroud. Tank Dell's really good, but there's a reason why he went mid rounds.
Because he's little.
Okay, and sometimes that doesn't translate well to the NFL. But when you have a quarterback like CJ Stroud, CJ Stroud instead of Bryce Young, you look better. And Tank Dell looks better because of CJ Stroud. It's nothing against Tank Dell. He's really good too. But what I'm saying is CJ Stroud is helping him where Bryce is not helping any of his receivers look good.
I get you. I just say pump the brakes, man. It's not a good situation.
I'm just saying. All right, Geno Smith, relax or panic?
Panic.
Hey, now you're going to panic on him.
Panic. I'm sorry. I'll give you grace period, but look, let's not act like we don't got a decade of Geno Smith in the NFL highlights to base this on. Maybe last year was his Matt Flynn 7-touchdown game season. Like, it's the outlier. Like, he has looked bad this year. He's regressed. I know there's been some injuries, but for the most part, he's had a pretty good team around him to work with, and he just has not looked like the same guy. His calling cards last year were his efficiency and all this other good, accuracy and stuff like that. I just haven't seen it this year. Like their offense is clearly taking a step back, and they've added 2 more supposedly dynamic weapons to this team, and they just look worse on offense. So I'm panicking on him.
I'm going to say relax. Pump the brakes. He's only on pace for 400 yards less than last year. All right. Yes, his TDs are down and the interceptions are up a little bit, but they've played really good defenses. I think people forget they've played 8 games. By the way, they're 5-3. They're first in the West. Who would have thought that halfway through the year? We would have all thought the 49ers are running away with it. And on top of that, he's played really good defenses. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Baltimore, Detroit. Like, sorry to say, those are some pretty good defenses. Cincinnati, not as good, and he did carve them up.
They're one of those. Cincinnati's one of those defenses where it's like you don't think of them as good. When they show up, they can play you really well.
But he carved them up. I think he had over 300 yards. So it's like
I don't even think he had. Did he have a touchdown in that game? I don't think so though.
Maybe not. But I mean, again, he did move the ball.
I get what you're saying. The reason I'm panicking on him is because it's not just his regression in play. It's that they also gave him a big contract based on that 1 year that he had. So they were expecting him to be what Ryan Tannehill turned into with the Titans for like that 2-year stretch where he was just like, hey, look, man, did the Dolphins make a mistake letting him go? And I'm not seeing that from Geno. Like they gave you the money. They're expecting you to overcome all this stuff and win games and put up big numbers. They're expecting you to do what they thought Russell Wilson couldn't do, which is why they traded him away. Like it's not looking like Geno is that guy. So I am panicking on him for those reasons.
Well, I'm just saying relax because there's time and he can get it turned around. All right, next question. Jackpot or fool's gold? You love this question. Chiefs as the AFC's #1 seed.
Ooh, even though I hate it because I picked these guys as the #1 AFC seed, but I'm going to go jackpot just because it's Mahomes and Reed. And you look up, they got 7 wins, man. Like, and the team is discombobulated. Like, Matt Nagy's there. The offense don't look as good. They have no receiver.
Oh, Travis Kelce. I knew that was coming.
Travis Kelce.
I knew you had to throw that in.
Travis Kelce can't play a good game if Taylor Swift is not there. Like, and this is the thing. Like, I never thought I would say this. The Chiefs are the #1 seed in the AFC, where the defense is better than the offense, and they still got Mahomes, Kelce, and Andy Reid. So if that is the case, I gotta buy them as the top seed.
You are such a hater. Anytime you can throw Matt Nagy under the bus. Well, listen, the answer is jackpot. And let me ask you why, JT. Do they still have Andy Reid?
This shit.
Do they still have Patrick Mahomes?
The best quote he's ever had on this show.
Do they still have Travis
for
Kelce?
3 years. Yes, and yes. I get it.
Then, hey, forget about it. 7th best offense in the league. The defense actually is one of the best in the league.
That's what I'm saying. If I would have told you the defense was better than the offense, they would be the #1 seed in the AFC. Be like, nah, something's wrong. Mahomes is hurt.
Maybe one of the best defenses they've had, if not the best defense they've had since Mahomes has been there. So, and they held the Dolphins under 300 total yards of offense. So, I mean, listen, they're the #1 seed right now. And remember when you were like worried about them and Mahomes and this and that? I told you relax. They did this last year. All right. Jackpot or fool's gold? Josh Dobbs in Minnesota.
Oh, that's jackpot. I'm sorry. Did you watch this game?
No, I believe I missed this one.
Let me tell you, if you got the NFL Game Pass, go back and watch this game because this was probably the best game of the week. Like just the performances, like the backup quarterback gets knocked out at the goal line, and Josh Dobbs just got there like a day or two before. Like he don't know anybody's names, and he comes in and has a crazy game. He's turning the ball over, but he's also scoring touchdowns. But this is what he's done. We saw it last year when Tennessee threw him into the fire, performed well. Then he goes to the Cardinals a week before the season starts, plays well to the point where they're not even tanking anymore. They're activating Kyler Murray. They were like, nah, he can't do it again. They ship him off to Minnesota, and what do you know? Day one, he leads them to a victory. And I'm like, Josh Dobbs is an NFL starter. Like the Jets should have made a trade for this man to play quarterback. I'm buying it because everything that he is doing is sustainable. One thing is he can run. I think the only people like that have better PFF rushing grades as quarterbacks are Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson. Like Josh Dobbs is up there, and you don't think of him as that type of guy, but you watch that game, he's running away from guys, and he's a competent NFL passer, and he don't even know the playbook yet. and he did all this. So I gotta buy him. Imagine what he's gonna look like with a week or two of practice as this goes on. He's gonna be better. Buying it, man. Jackpot.
So I'm gonna say jackpot too for two reasons. He finally gets a chance at being a starting NFL quarterback without looking over his shoulder.
He
right?
wasn't looking over his shoulder with the Cardinals.
Yeah, he was. You knew Kyler Murray was coming back.
Kyler Murray was never going to come back if they kept Dobbs.
That's not necessarily true. They may have traded Dobbs because they knew Kyler was coming back.
Fair enough.
Then the other reason why the jackpot is he got really good weapons in Minnesota, man, especially when Justin Jefferson comes back. And that's a weak division. So even if he's not playing at his best, he can still lead that team to the playoffs. And that's jackpot for them. Now, what I will say, though, is beware. We said the same thing last year about Baker Mayfield going into like that Monday or Thursday night game. He was there less than 48 hours, comes in.
Oh, with the Rams.
Drives. Yeah,
with the Rams. People on the sideline.
Right. Like, he barely knows the playbook.
That's different,
How is
though.
that different? See, that's what I'm saying.
Because
Dobbs has
done this the third straight time. Like,
but JT.
Maybe he's just good.
But JT, look at Baker now in Tampa. Like, he's had his stretches. Like
he's had a good season.
And then we also thought, oh, man, he's doing this. Like, Sean McVay can turn him around. Like, so just pump the brakes is all I'm saying. But I do agree. I think it is jackpot. All right, CJ Stroud is a top 10 quarterback.
I watched that game, too. And I'm sorry, man. Like, after that game, like, my wife looked at me like I was crazy, man. I was screaming because the man put up like 60-plus fantasy points. But I'm like, anybody who watched that game afterwards, like, hey, CJ Stroud is Jesus Christ, man. Like, he can walk on water. He can do no wrong. And then I came back down to earth, and I'm like, it's fool's gold. Not yet. I can't put him in the top 10 yet because there's guys that have been in the league. They've done it longer, and these are really good quarterbacks that are ahead of him. So I'm going to say it's fool's gold.
Wow. Listen, man, it's jackpot.
You ready to put him in the top 10 already, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get you want to plant your flag because this is your guy in the draft.
I'm dying on that hill. I'm dying. I've planted that flag. I've made a tent. I'm dying on that hill.
You acting like Baker Mayfield at Ohio State, bro. You plant that flag midfield already. Halfway through his rookie season, he top 10 already.
Listen, I mean, let's just take a look at the stats, JT.
I know the stats because I got him on my team. I see him every week. He's phenomenal.
I mean, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. That's what I love. He's playing mistake-free football, and they're putting things on his back at times. So the fact that he can handle it this early, and it's not just that he's making good plays or making good decisions. Well, part of it's the good decisions, but he's playing mistake-free football where he's getting more and more every week, and the running game is not the best, whether it's Dameon Pierce or whoever, Singletary.
No running game.
Yeah, and it's not like they have a top 5 defense or something. At least I don't think so.
The defense it's solid enough, but it's not great.
Right. So the fact that like he's a rookie doing this, and I do only see him getting better. But right now, if you're looking purely at forget names, if you're looking at just resume and stats, he's top 10. If you take the names out of it, he is top 10. Like, I don't know how else to say it. And all I'm saying is, I don't think, and what I'm saying is, I don't think that that's fool's gold in the sense that, if you are putting him in the top 10, like, you're making a mistake.
Like when I say fool's gold, I'm like, correct. He's not for real. He is. But also, this is why people compared him to Dak Prescott, and everybody's like, ooh, we don't like that comparison. But this is how Dak started off his career. Like, good numbers, mistake-free football. Remember when Dak first came into the league?
But CJ's doing more proactively.
He looks like he's more advanced. I get it. But
he's also making plays. They're putting things on him that he needs to do, and he's doing. Dak, it was like, we're going to run with Zeke. We're going to play defense. Just don't turn it over. I'm saying his rookie year, that was the game.
All right, I get it. CJ Stroud is Dan Marino, and Dak was just a system quarterback.
I didn't say that.
I get it. Next question.
I didn't say that now. I won't go that far. Relax. All right, last one. The new Raiders.
Fool's gold. I love my dog AP, man. He talking about I need to reach out and feel guys. They need to feel me. They felt you for one half of football. And I don't know what the hell happened in the second half because they didn't look good. without Daniel Jones playing on the other side. They had your cousin, what's his name, Danny DeVito playing.
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito, my bad. They had Tommy DeVito, Brokovici playing, and then somehow the Raiders defense looked worse in the second half. I mean, come on. This I don't think this is a Rich Bisaccia situation because I don't think this team is as good.
Cousin. That's my other
cousin. Yeah, all your cousins in the NBA. We need a deal. I don't think that this Raiders team is as good as that one was. So I think I think this win was they were just happy to get Josh McDaniels out the building. So this is how we show our appreciation. But they'll be back to the same Raiders they were the next game.
Yeah, and then on top of that, who's their QB? JT, like, come on. You're not
Aiden O'Connell, because he did not look good.
Yeah, you're not going to win many games with Aiden O'Connell. So listen, enjoy the cigars that you had in the locker room because you're not going to have too many more of those to light up. So that's fool's gold. I agree.
I'm glad we agreed on that. Can we talk about some NBA, man?
I mean,
know how much you hate putting this into the show.
What do you mean hate? I'm just saying it's football season right now, but I agree with you. Like, let's talk basketball. It is exciting, man. Some of the things going on in the NBA. Meanwhile, see, this is why you're all about clicks. You come on the show for clicks because you want to talk NBA. But guess what opened up last night? College basketball. You didn't.
I know the games. I know we beat the Sisters of the Blind by 40 points.
You didn't do any predictions. You didn't do any awards. You didn't do any preview show for college hoops because you just want to do it for clicks.
Because college basketball is different, and I'm still hurt over the Canes. Like I can't bring myself to talk about it yet.
It's a new season. Get over.
But NBA Fastbreak, it's the NBA version of the checkdown game. I'm gonna give you some options. You let me know what you think about them. Is that okay with you? I'll give you credit. I came up with this name, and it's not going away, just like the other things you introduced.
That's right. Because I write the script.
Oh, that's why you try to always make yourself look good, but you're a horrible writer. All right, so more concerning.
You do
the Miami Heat, Miami Heat, or the Memphis Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies finally got their first win like 1 or 2 games ago, and the Heat, I think we got one win. So we're both teams are below expectations. So who's more concerning?
Well, the Heat are 3-4, Grizzlies are 1-6, and this is
got more wins than I thought.
Yeah, and this is why I will say the Heat because the Grizzlies eventually will have Ja Morant come back. And it's not about, to me, it's not about winning the title this year. It's just about getting the ship right for that team for the future. If they can get Ja back after 26 games, he plays the way he was, doesn't do anything on social media to hurt him or the team, they'll be fine. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs or, win the title or anything, but I think long-term they'll be fine. I'm more concerned about the Heat because, JT, it's now or never, man. It is now or never. You've traded some guys away. You didn't get Dame. Jimmy Butler's getting old.
We didn't even get James Harden.
So I'm more concerned about your Heat because the East is still tough. And if Jimmy Butler's got to put the team on his back from right now, ain't no way he's going to survive in May come playoffs.
Agree with you 100% is the Heat. And I said this, was it 2 years ago? When we talked about is the Heat championship window closed, and I gave you all my concerns, and then Jimmy Butler's like, all right, I'll suck it up one more year, and I'll prove you wrong. But those concerns are still there, and this is the the result of that. This team will only go as far as Jimmy Butler will carry us. I'm sorry, the knees are done. Like he's not going to be able to carry us like he has in years past, and we're seeing all these guys play that were too good to trade away for guys like Dame, James Harden, a Giannis, an Embiid, any other second guy that we could pair with Jimmy Butler for this specific situation to get better. And I'm sorry, I don't like what I see. It's not a good team. Like we're still down to Butler, Bam, and Hero. And we know how that trio works in the playoffs. They don't unless Jimmy Butler plays like Superman for 7 games for 3 series. And I'm sorry, you can't rely on that every year. That's not going to happen this year. So I'm panicking on them. For everything you said about the Grizzlies, it's true. Once they get Ja back, it's going to be a different team, and they could make a run at the play-in, or they might be a better team than that. So I'm not worried about them as a younger team. The Heat, they need to win now, and they need to show why these guys weren't good enough to trade to go get somebody like Damian Lillard. Because right now it's looking like the wrong move. All right, more concerning. Your boy Giannis, who you love. You said he was going to be MVP. Or my guy Jimmy Butler. I feel like you already kind of gave the answer, but I'm going to see if you're going to panic on your guy or not.
No, it's Jimmy Butler. That's more concerning. Listen, Giannis, did you see what he did last night? Let me read
Finally,
this stat
if we would have did this show a day early, you would have picked Giannis because you've been texting me how bad he's been playing for 2 weeks. You're like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were so
Let me read this stat line. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me read this stat line. He was 15 for 27 from the field.
I get it. He helped you in your fantasy
life. 12 rebounds, 3 assists. Now, his numbers are definitely down all across the board from the past few seasons.
That was right. That was a possibility.
Listen, it's still early though. But with Butler, now he had a great night last night, 9 of 15, 28 points, 4 boards, 6 assists. But JT on the year, 19 points, 6.5 boards, 3.7 assists. That's not going to get it done. I mean, he didn't play against Minnesota, but you look at some of the games, Milwaukee and Boston, 14 points, 13 points. Brooklyn, Washington, 20 points, 20 points. Like, that's not good enough. And when you're 3 and 4 and you're playing like that, that's where the concern is. And the biggest concern is he's played so much the past couple of years because of their deep playoff runs and how much he's put on his shoulders. How much more does he have at that elite level? I don't know. We're going to find out. But
bingo.
I
agree with you. He's more concerning. For everything that you said, like all those extra games are catching up with him. Like, he's too old. Our team should be good enough to where we can load manage him. Like, he should be like our Kawhi, and we can't afford for him to have that role. Right. And that's why he's more concerning. Giannis and Dame, they'll figure it out. Because I'm sorry, like LeBron and D Wade and Bosh, they weren't exactly firing on all cylinders when they teamed up together. But guess what? You believed in the talent. You believed they'd figure it out. And they got better. And we went to an NBA Finals our first year. And keep in mind, like, that whole team is working itself back. Chris Middleton is also working himself back into shape. So I'm not panicking on Giannis. This is good. More concerning, NBA load management or the NBA injury reporting. So I will preface this by saying that the reason we put the NBA injury reporting is, I don't know why, but for some reason the NBA doesn't have to be honest about when they submit injuries for lineups. And if they submit a lineup, I think it's like 30 minutes before a game, they can change that lineup after it's been submitted. So, for instance, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was ruled out, but somehow he still played. So, which one is worse, the injury reporting or the load management?
It's injury reporting, because usually with load management, one, that's a possibility, and two, they'll usually let you know well in advance, right? But if the injury reporting is inaccurate, JT, it does a couple things. One, if you're saying someone is going to play and I buy tickets and then all of a sudden they're not, that's an issue.
Oh, tell on, no.
And then let's
not be nice about it. Let's be degenerates. If someone is
hold on, I'm getting to that. The other thing with the injury reporting is, this is millions, billion-dollar industry. The injury reports need to be accurate. Let's face it, for the betting. All of these things are betting. Sports betting is being legalized in almost every state, it seems like, every day. I think Florida, the app or something, just got approved. Now you can actually go on the app and bet, I think, in Florida. So you can let us know how that works. But it needs to be accurate for those reasons. That's why I say the refs shouldn't have to talk after games, because they could get in trouble with gamblers. Like, the injury report needs to be accurate, because of, if you're going to be in bed, the NBA, the NFL with DraftKings and FanDuel, you need to have these things accurate for that specific reason. Not necessarily for the other team, but for the betting line. That's more important than the load management, because load management, we usually know ahead of time, and it's been going on for years. So at this point, listen, buyer beware with the tickets, with the load management. I got stuck with that in New Orleans, where I thought I was going to see Zion against the Warriors, and Zion played somehow, but Draymond didn't, Clay didn't, and Steph Curry did. But hey, I got to see an NBA game. That's buyer beware. But with the injury reports in gambling or in the betting, that doesn't jive.
Yeah, I think it's the injury reporting, and I feel like this is the difference between why it's easier for the average casual sports fan to get into the NFL for outlets outside of the game. Like, This is why it's easier to get into fantasy football. This is why it's easier to get into betting, even if it's like this DFS type stuff. It's easier to get into that because you don't have to jump through all these mental hurdles. Like the NFL is what it is. The games are on these days. You're gonna find out who's playing by
90 minutes before the kickoff.
And guess what? They do a good job of updating you throughout the week. Like this guy is trending toward playing. This guy is trending toward not playing. The NBA, the guy will practice all day the next day, and then boom, he is out 3 minutes before tip-off, 30 minutes after they said he would play when the injury report was submitted.
Yeah.
Like, how can the average fan get into that? Because that is the biggest thing holding them back, I think, from average people coming over is they don't trust that it's going to be fun because there's just too much to look out for. So yeah, it's absolutely the injury reporting. But let's go positive. I love this question. More impressive. We're going with the rookies here. Freaky Vicky, Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, or our guy, Asar Thompson, my cousin with the Detroit Pistons.
Oh, he's your cousin. You didn't want to say
I told them my cousins when they got drafted. They're my family.
You didn't want to say
Two
that
of them.
in the draft.
The twins, man. I used to babysit them.
I'm pretty sure I said that too, and you were like, "Nah, I don't know." Them.
Of course, man. Hey, Wemby, Chet, or Asar Thompson, which one is more impressive?
Listen, they've all done a great job. It's great to see Chet off his injury. Asar Thompson with being a rookie is great. I'm going to go Wemby. Maybe that's the easy answer, but listen, man, with that much hype and to produce the way he has, averaging 19.5 points, 8.5 boards, 1.7 assists. I mean, listen, it's exciting if you're a Spurs fan. So I'm going to go with the hype to the production to he's only played in 7 games, that the future is bright, not only for him, but the Spurs, and maybe Greg Popovich, finds that fountain of youth with him. I think because of all that, he's been the most impressive, but that doesn't diminish what Chet and Asar Thompson have done at all.
Look, I love my cousin. Hey, Chet's an amazing player, but I'm sorry, man. I ain't got to look at stats. It's Wemby. Like, a 19-year-old hasn't looked like he can break the league since LeBron came in. Just think about that. Like
20 years ago, 20 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we forget this kid is 19. He don't have an NBA body. This is his first time playing in the States. And it's not like the Spurs are surrounded with amazing talent. So when you playing against the Spurs, the game plan is we got to do everything to shut Wemby down. And he's still out there just looking like the freak of all freaks. Like, what he is doing is far more impressive. And like I said, no disrespect to Chet and Asar, but right. It's Wembanyama.
Hey, can I be there for the Thanksgiving dinner when Asar comes and
because I'm gonna just tell him that you ain't.
You picked against him?
I'm gonna tell him you disrespected our family. You didn't believe we were related.
You didn't pick him.
Johnny come later.
You didn't pick him. You didn't pick him though. I want to be there when he gets there, and you got to explain why you didn't pick him over.
I ain't got time for you to be begging my cousin for shit. More impressive. We're going old guys. Steph Curry or LeBron James.
Listen, both are impressive. The start that they've had.
Talk about load management. Hey,
it don't exist with those guys. It don't exist with those guys. Listen, both are impressive. So I hate having to pick one, but I'm going to go LeBron. I mean, listen, the guy's averaging over 25 a game, 8.5 boards, 6 assists. He's still playing almost 36 minutes a game. JT,
he wants to play more.
Hold on, he's 38, turning. I think on New Year's Eve day, he's going to turn 39. So in less than 2 months, he turns 39. And listen, Steph having a great year, but listen, it's the lowest assist average in his career, the lowest rebounds for him per game since the 2016-17 season, and he's 35. That 3.5-year difference is huge. And LeBron is like, I can't tell if he's 35, 25, or 39. It is just really incredible. It is incredible.
Yeah, it's easy as LeBron. It's just simply because of their style of play. Like, LeBron is still playing bully ball at 40 years old on 36 minutes a night, doing the same stuff he did in year one. Like, that is insane. Like, the fact that he at his age, he can still be this dominant playing that style of basketball. Like, that's unheard of. Like, it's way more impressive. Like, I love Steph Curry. All the things you said with a little bit of different stats, but at the end of the day, shooters always last longer in this league, and they can do it for much longer.
I was going to say, what's the last thing to go is the shot.
Exactly. And his shot ain't going nowhere. Like
No.
Steph Curry could play until he's 50 being a Kyle Korver when he can't be Steph anymore with everything else, just with his shooting alone.
Hey, get in the corner and spot up.
Exactly. It's LeBron. And he'll still average 25. All right, so let's go jackpot or fool's gold. Celtics as the best team in the NBA.
I hate saying this, but it's jackpot. I mean, bro, they're 5-1. They scored 155 points against the Pacers. You know they can play defense. Again, they retool their team, right? They retool that roster. They reshape it. What, they lose Brogdon, they bring in Porzingis or what? They lose Marcus Smart. They bring in, now Derek White steps up. I mean, listen, right now, I think they're the best team in the NBA. Always my concern is late in the playoffs, how well do Tatum and Brown gel and how well do both step up at the same time? But right now, they're the best team. And I think they will be consistently top 2, top 3, top 1 team throughout the regular season. So I'm in jackpot.
I agree. It's jackpot. But this is why they're the best team, is because all those things you mentioned that you still worry about, they wouldn't got guys that could fix that. They got Porzingis, a guy that can shoot, rebound, great rim protector. But guess what? He can also go shoot you threes in the corner, not clogging up the paint for guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to get to the rack. Then they replaced Marcus Smart with the souped up version of him in Holiday. So yeah. And let's talk about this too, because last year we gave him a lot of criticism down the stretch. Masula, like we were like, hey, look, it was a situation we weren't expecting. He wasn't always ready for it, but hey, look, he'll be ready this year. He learned on the job on the fly last year, so I gotta imagine a year later he's more prepared and this team is better. Like I gotta put them as the best team in the NBA, and for what it's worth, they don't got us standing in their way to worry about. They don't got the heat. So
not right now.
They won't, and that's got to help them sleep better at night. Well, I'd rather worry about seeing the Knicks than seeing us.
But JT, injuries happen. Trades can be made by Pat Riley. So I wouldn't say that the Heat are not going to be a factor for the Celtics. Let's relax there.
This next one's a shocker to me. Jackpot or fool's gold, Scotty Barnes.
What do you mean shocker? Like, listen, if you had this is the easy answer. It's jackpot. If you don't believe it's jackpot, you haven't been watching him or watching the NBA. The dude's averaging over 22 and a half a game, 10 rebounds, almost 6 assists. He's had double-digit scoring.
I feel like he's also getting blocks too. How many blocks is he averaging?
I don't know.
He's averaging like 2 blocks a game.
That's a fantasy basketball stat.
That matters because that's defensive player of the year type of stuff.
Yeah, and we knew he could play defense. Coming out of the draft from Florida State, that was one of his calling cards. So listen, I mean, he's better than Siakam. I wish I would have taken Scotty Barnes in the draft instead of Siakam. I mean, he's right now the best player on Toronto. So listen, if you haven't been watching him, you've got to watch him. But this answer is easy. It's jackpot.
Yeah, it's jackpot because first of all, Van Vliet's not there. So you knew at some point he was going to get more opportunities to at least on offense. But I didn't count on, like you said, Siakam being this bad. So that's inflating Scotty Barnes' numbers even more. Like Siakam is so bad that Dennis Schroeder is now the second best player on this team. I never thought I would say that. But yeah, Scotty Barnes is amazing. All the stats you just named, his blocks are through the roof. He's got like 2 blocks a game. Like this dude is literally putting up Joel Embiid numbers, and he's like he's a 3. He's a small forward. Like this is insane. Like we liked Scotty Barnes when he first came into the league.
Yeah,
struggled a little bit last year, but I never thought I would see this kind of jump from him. So it's absolutely jackpot. I think he's going to continue to do it. Jackpot or fool's gold, Luka Doncic as MVP.
Whew. Listen, it's jackpot. It's jackpot. I felt that this was eventually going to happen. And I mean, just listen to these stats right now. 31.6 points a game, 9.6 boards, 9 assists a game.
And that's like a little bit down by his standards.
I mean, that is crazy. I mean, that is crazy, but a lot of it's his efficiency. 13 of 25, 16 of 25, 11 for 22, 11 for 24. I mean, 9 of 17 last night at Orlando. He actually had a down day. 29 points, 3 boards, 6 assists, but he still shot 9 of 17. And that's the thing. We're not talking about a guy that is posting up in the paint, taking 3-foot bunny shots. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's out on the perimeter.
You firing shots at somebody?
No, like, this guy is out on the perimeter, out in the fast break. Right now, I think he's the MVP. And unless Giannis can make a run,
or Jokic,
he'll win it over Jokic. Just the way Embiid did last year, he'll win it over Jokic because Doncic has been steadily getting closer to that MVP title each year.
Yeah, it's crazy because I picked him last year to win this award. I'm like, yeah, I was a year too early, but yeah, this is jackpot, man. Like, and it's because it's the efficiency. Like, we know he can put up these triple doubles at will and do crazy stuff, but it's the efficiency because everyone's always like, he's a volume player, he has high turnovers, guys can't play around him, but like Kyrie's also having a good game too. Like, I never thought I would see a scenario where Doncic is putting up MVP numbers, but like Kyrie Irving's getting 10 assists a game. Like, that just shows you the type of player and the type of season that Luka's having is that he's dispelling those myths and rumors that guys can't be successful around him as a star. So I think that if that continues, that's what's really going to push him to, all right, he's going to win the MVP. And I think that's why he's the MVP favorite right now.
All right. So almost toward the end here. Everyone's favorite segment. Forget about it. Forget about it or Fugazi. We'll read a statement and then we'll let you know if it's a hot take. We'll say forget about it. We agree. If we don't agree and we think it's a bad take, we'll say Fugazi. All right. First one, JT. The KD Suns big three is already a worse situation than the Nets big three situation.
Fugazi. I want to say forget about it so bad. But I know we haven't seen Bradley Beal play yet, and then Devin Booker's in out of the lineup, and whoever thought KD would be the guy that was the healthiest. But like, let's not act like in Brooklyn that health was the only thing that was an issue. Like, they just did not like each other. They hated James Harden. He didn't have to pretend to be fat to get out of Brooklyn, but they hated him. Kyrie didn't show up to play. Kevin Durant was hurt, and he was just not happy. That situation was way worse than anything that's happened in Phoenix so far. I want to see these guys healthy before I can make judgment on this Suns big three.
Yeah, it's easily Fugazi because it's so early. Plus two, talk about them not liking each other. Those three guys were sabotaging the team. They were sabotaging their own success.
They were sabotaging the coach.
That's worse than not being able to get out there because of injury or whatever, recovering from surgery. Like, that's way worse what they were doing in Brooklyn. So it's Fugazi.
All right, next one. Mike McDaniel is the new Kyle Shanahan in big games. Forget about it or Fugazi. I didn't write this one.
Yes, you did.
No,
Fugazi.
I did not.
It's Fugazi. Listen, let's wait until the playoffs. I mean, man, Mike McDaniel's a season and a half in. He's done such great things for the Dolphins offense, made such great strides, great strides for Tua. And now, all of a sudden, because he has one rough half in Germany, it's like, oh, he can't coach in the big game. Yo, relax, everybody. Let's wait until the playoffs. He's not even 2 full seasons in. This is Fugazi. Because what Kyle Shanahan has done in the Super Bowl, right, with the Falcons, and what he has done at times in 49er playoff games, a little bit baffling. That's all I got to say.
I'm gonna look at this a different way. I'm gonna say Fugazi because I think the people think the Dolphins roster is more talented than it really is. Like, we have some studs, but it's really not that great of a roster. Like, if Mike McDaniel had some of these rosters that Kyle Shanahan has had, like that Falcons Super Bowl roster, these 49ers rosters that he's had out west, like, I think he would win some of those big games. So until Mike McDaniels gets more time on the job, or we see him with the roster as talented as some of the top tier Shanahan teams, I'm going to say, look, he's doing a great job and you need to give him more time. So it's Fugazi.
All right, nice. We agreed on the first two so far. This is too much agreeing on this show. I don't like the ratings are going to go down. All right, last one. Forget about it, Fugazi. No QB should be an MVP favorite.
Oh, this is forget about it. What QB deserves to win an MVP? Which one? Because I know they're going to try to find a way to give it to Patrick Mahomes, but he has he got the same stats as Russell Wilson this year. Like, it's got to be Tyreek Hill, maybe Lamar Jackson, but even he is. I feel like he's not blowing me away to the point where it's like, hey, I'm gonna give it to him over the guy that's on pace to have a 2,000-yard season, or like what Christian McCaffrey's doing out west. Like, I just don't see any quarterback that's really played up to that MVP level. Like, prove to me it's not a quarterback award this year.
Right. So I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go Fugazi, but what I want to see is just more consideration for other positions like Tyreek Hill, AJ Brown,
Or
like
even defensive players.
It shouldn't automatically go to Jalen Hurts. Like, well, look who he's throwing to. AJ Brown helps him a lot. It's funny that we're like, Tua's kind of in the top 5, 6 for MVP, but it's like, well, what about Tyreek Hill? You know what I mean? Like, hey, what about Travis Kelce if you're looking at Mahomes, or like you said, a defensive guy?
Like, what about Max Crosby?
Yeah, like, what about TJ Watt? Like, those guys can change a game. They change a team, right? And I'm not saying that a quarterback should never get consideration, but from now on, because it's such a passing league, you have to show multiple ways. Like, you've got to show leadership, you've got to show, reduce turnovers, and you need to put up the big stats. And that's if there's no one else on your team like a Tyreek Hill or an AJ Brown that is facilitating having great numbers. So I'm going to say Fugazi, but I want to see more consideration for other positions at this point for MVP. All right. So let me grab this other sheet because I'm going to need this with
these
weekend.
These are
Weekend predictions. This is our favorite segment. All right.
It's only good when he feels his record is good enough to repeat on.
I had a rough college week last weekend. NFL was all right. So let's start with college. All right. We have updated rankings. All right. So in the lead at 18-11 is Coach Connor. Second place is JT, 17-12. And then I am third at 15-14. So
that's
3 games.
Have so many games to talk about.
3 games separate us. These are all. Listen, I go with ranked against ranked. I can't help it if there's 5. All right. So first one, Michigan at Penn State.
Michigan.
So it's a clean sweep. All 3 of us say Michigan. Utah at Washington.
Ooh. I got to go with Utah just to spite you guys.
Coach Cassidy, Coach Connor, and myself both with Washington. Tennessee at Missouri.
Missouri.
All 3 of us with Missouri. USC at Oregon.
Oregon.
All 3 of us with Oregon. And then the last one, the big showdown. 2 top 10 teams here. Ole Miss at Georgia, between the hedges.
Georgia. Their quarterback has quietly gotten better throughout the year, and I think he's good enough to win this game.
So you and Coach Connor go Georgia. Listen, I'm going to keep going against Georgia. At some point, they about to lose. They're not the same team. Miss.
So you're not bold enough to put the biggest game of the weekend on this prediction? You just going to slide past that?
Listen, I don't want to lose a game.
Put this shit on air.
I don't want to lose a game. Hey,
well, I'm putting it on there. Miami at FSU.
Hey, we know. Listen, I'm going to pick for Coach Cassidy. He's going to pick Florida State. He's a Florida State guy. Who you got?
I'm picking Miami.
I'm going Florida State, man. I pick with my mind, not with my heart.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Going Florida State. Plus, I can make a game up on you. All right, so NFL. What's that?
See how nice I am to my friend?
Yeah, right. You figure you got nothing to lose there. All right, so NFL, look at the records. King Ken with a nice lead right now, 16-7. I am second, 13-10, and JT 1 game behind me at 12-11. So we got some room, some games to make up on Kendall. We got 4 games on the slate. Browns at Ravens.
Got to go with my guys, man. Ravens.
I'm going to go Ravens as well, and we will get Kendall's
picks.
We'll get Kendall's predictions off air. Lions at Chargers.
Ooh. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I feel like Lions are coming out west. I think this is a high-scoring game, but I think the Chargers find a way to get it done.
I have them as well. They're at home. Detroit has to go cross country. And listen, you know me, I'm always picking the Chargers, good or bad. Saints at Vikings.
Saints.
Sneaky good game.
Sneaky good game. I love Josh Dobbs, but that Saints defense is no joke, even if it is on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to go Saints as well. I think Dobbs had his success early. Even though he has a week now, I still think it's a lot of time to catch up. Saints have some film on him. I'm going to go Saints as well. And then probably the game of the week, I would say 49ers at Jaguars.
I'm going 49ers. I know they're coming
Woo!
out east. I think this is a game where they smash the Jags and get back on the map and people remember how dominant they are.
That could happen. I'm actually going to go Jacksonville. I think at home, cross-country flight. And
the early game.
It's an early game. I just feel like Jacksonville's coming off a bye, I believe. Like, they need this one. Jacksonville needs this one. 49ers are reeling. I keep saying don't worry about them, but I'm just going to go Jacksonville. It's just a gut feeling. Nothing really to back it up.
Fair enough.
Nothing to back it up. So, JT, great episode. To all the fans and listeners out there, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. And remember to please subscribe to us, JT and the Dawn All Sports Podcast, presented by Give Us a Shot Network. You can find us and subscribe to us on all of the major platforms and wherever you find all of your other favorite podcasts. And remember to also subscribe to the Give Us a Shot Network YouTube channel. So remember to subscribe to us. And if you like what we do, leave us a 5-star review. And JT,
if you don't like what we do,
leave us a 5-star review. And remember to please follow us on social media. Our handle, JT and the Dawn, we can be found on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and X. All right.
Okay.
See, I remembered.
There we go.
All right, JT. So great episode, man. A lot of fun. Have a great rest of the week. Don't bother me. Don't talk any fantasy sports. I'm done with all that. And until the next episode, see ya.
Peace.